Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great end of summer. Hard to believe that's almost done. Really amazing. Hope everyone's having a great end of summer. Hope everybody's had a great time. I'm here in Philadelphia today and looking forward to answering everyone's questions that we've gotten. So today, our first question is from Selena Medina. Selena asked, what's a good way to develop a business plan? I have a service business it's tattoos. I have a ton of ideas and fragments and text, but I don't really know the first thing about writing a business plan. What should I include? Well, a business plan should usually have what's the problem that you're solving or what's the opportunity. And we know that in your business, the tattoo business has grown a lot. I'm 61. When I was in my 20s, maybe 10% of people have tattoos. Now, I think it's over 50% of people have tattoos. So you want to start with a problem, and then you want to talk about what's the solution that you're providing. Now that there's a lot of tattoo artists, what makes you really unique? What are you providing, and who's the target market for who would buy your service of putting on tattoos? And then you want to figure out how big is the market where you're at, because clearly this is an e-commerce play where you can sell to the entire world. In your particular case, it may be only within a 5-mile drive time or 10-mile drive time of your current location. So that's really important. The next thing you want to do is figure out what's your marketing strategy to get people to your tattoo parlor for them to know that you exist. And clearly you're going to be thinking about things like Instagram, things that can show pictures of things, maybe even video. Then you're going to figure out how you're going to go and sell people on your tattoo parlor. And while you're figuring how to sell it to them, which could be that you're speaking at places, that you're going to run a contest to get people to know that you exist, different things. You might be even partnering with people that you think could send you business. So you're going to be selling to the end consumer, the influencer, to people who are already bought tattoos from you, asking them to refer business to you. And luckily for you, anybody's interested in a tattoo, every one of your clients is a walking billboard for what you're doing. The next thing you want to figure out is what are your revenue streams? Is it just tattoos? Is it cream to keep the tattoo looking good? Whatever that is, figure out all your different revenue streams. Then you have to take a look at who's the competition and how are you different than the competition. Are your designs unique? Are you a better artist? Do you focus on women? Do you focus on a certain age group? Whatever that is that would give you a competitive advantage. Then the next step on this is, and especially if it's just you, but your operations, is it more than just you? Or are you going to add other artists onto it? Do you want to add other artists onto it? And because even though I've never had tattoo and I've walked past tattoo parlors, I kind of think of them almost like people who cut hair, and that you might have different people working there and getting a percentage off of each person who is doing tattoos in your tattoo parlor. So that could be pretty lucrative for you. And then you want to develop a 3 to 5 year financial forecast. What would it be? How many could you possibly handle? What's the cost that you have? Your store rent, or if you own your building, or if you're doing it out of your apartment, however that may be working, how would that work for you? And figure out what all your different costs are, your marketing cost, your ink cost, everything that's associated with it. Insurance, I'm sure that not only do you need business insurance, but insurance if something goes wrong while you're giving them the tattoo. So all of those things are important. So the next thing that you need to think about is, do you actually need to raise additional money? Like, do you need to get a bank loan to go and meet your dream? Or do you think that this is going to be something that's going to grow tremendously and that you could add additional powers for and might want to raise outside capital from angel investors? So that's your plan, and you put it on a Word document and you just add to it, and then you take a look at it and you're going to be making changes to it. Writing out a plan, putting together a spreadsheet, it takes time, and your thoughts are going to change, and whatever you do initially is going to be wrong because your eyes are going to open up to new possibilities. Your brain's going to think about new things. So wish you the best of luck, but that's how you would create your plan, and we'll look forward to hearing future questions and seeing how your plan evolves. The second question comes from Ricardo Delgado. Ricardo asks, how do I start a grand opening for my business? Are there any tips I should do or know before doing so? And do you think it's important that I do one? I think a grand opening is really important. And you said, I started my business in 2020 and never did a grand opening. I wanted to do a grand opening. I want to know if any mentors have experience with this. I've done grand openings in the past, and it's good that you're doing it later because you've worked at all the kinks in your business. You've been up and operating for a while. So there's nothing really that's going to probably go wrong in this particular case. So when you want to do your grand opening, you want to let all your current and past clients know that you're doing this, and you want to make it really special. If they're coming to your place, you want to go and make sure that there's a draw there. Like sometimes a draw for people is having a free food truck. Nobody can turn down free food, especially if it's like Mexican food or it's hot dogs and hamburgers, something like that. And if it's family oriented, then you might want to have clowns and magicians and things like that for kids, face painting, anything that's going to say to people, you know what, I want to take time out of my day for this. And you might want to do live drawings to give away things that day that the people have to actually be there to come to your grand opening, and that you're going to give away something every hour. And it could be a $25 gift card to Starbucks. It could be a $25 gift card or $50 gift card for your own business, whatever it might be. And of course, giving away stuff from your own business is even better because they get a chance to use it or buy things from you, those types of things. But now's the perfect time to do that grand opening because, in a sense, you've been open for a while, you've got to test things. And by the way, you don't have to call it a grand opening. You could call it a 2-year anniversary. And every year on your anniversary, you could do it as opposed to calling it a grand opening. An anniversary, people like to celebrate those things. So that may even be better for you. The next question also is from Ricardo Delgado. Ricardo asks, how do I start a continued educational program for my business? I have an idea of doing an event every quarter and charging other barbers to attend as well. I have a plan to start an educational event once every quarter, helping other barbers learn new tips and tricks. I would charge them for attending. If there's any marketing strategies I should start doing before starting something like this. I don't know in your industry if there's continuing education courses, and if there are, you probably need to be certified for this. And you need to check out how much are you going to charge barbers for this, and is it just about cutting hair, or are you charging other barbers about how to market themselves, how to sell themselves, how to increase their own business? Are you showing them about how to go and track their financials, how to make sure that they're running efficiently? So there's a lot of different things, but I kind of think that either you're really well known and people want to learn from you and they come to you and say, I would pay to learn from you, or you're going to need some kind of certification so the barbers get certified and they can put on their wall that they've gone through these courses, so when customers come in and they're waiting for the barber to cut their hair, they can see they've been certified in different things. And obviously you've seen certified to run a barbershop. It's not going to be impressive to the buyer, but that might be something that they care about anyway. So I would see what continuing education costs. And by the way, you might even want to partner with a cosmetology school to do this, or you might want to partner with a college where people are thinking about this as a business, because there are people with college degrees who decide, hey, this is what I want to do because I think I can make a great living at it. I enjoy it. I like people. So there are different opportunities here. But again, I would go and see if there's certification that you can get from the state that will allow you to certify yourself, then market yourself out to barbers and let them know the different courses you're teaching and what you're planning on charging for those courses. The next question is from Mark Gibson. Mark writes, what process would be the best to define leap of faith assumptions when trying to bring a product to market that has never been developed before? Currently, I'm developing a non-technical data analysis tool, business intelligence, for small businesses to be able to readily have access to data analytics. We are currently in the period of uncertainty of what our digital target audience will be. Currently working on developing a minimally viable product that encompasses KPIs that most businesses would find useful. We're looking to gather attention of all of our basic KPI framework for most businesses. After defining our assumptions on target audience, we'll look to present the current MVP and further refine KPIs to that particular industry business model. So, Mark, what I would do here is look at maybe one or two markets to start with and massaging your model to fit those models, and then take a look at what those kinds of businesses make, and see who else is out there selling anything remotely close, so you can figure out what your pricing scheme should be. And your pricing should always be higher. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. You figure if you're lower, you'll grab more. But for some reason, psychologically, people always think, because I work with a guy who did pricing for a living, that if it's a higher priced product, it means it's better, it offers more, and it's a better quality product. Now, mind you, you can do like lots of people do and offer different levels of product and access to your product and what your product will possibly do. But I would start off with one or two markets and test those markets to see that you have it done, not because it won't fit everybody. And a lot of people will not be taking the time to go and make it work specifically for their market. It's different than having accounting software that pretty much can be used for any type of business, because we all have similar issues as a business. But what you're talking about, where it's processes and revenue streams and expenses and tracking things, I think you're better off picking a couple of industries, maybe just one industry to start that you think is pretty sizable and that is growing, not shrinking, but growing, and showing your model there, testing everything out and making it work. I've done this many times where I've gone into a certain area that I wasn't sure what the pricing should be, but there's always something similar there that you could go and use and make a comparison. And the other way you can back it out is, what is your cost to go and do it? So like, let's say that you want to make $50 an hour. And if you're looking to make $50 an hour, you got to figure out how much time is it going to take you to go and do this, how much time it's going to take marketing, sales, setting up the sessions themselves, putting the content together. You know, all of those things. Create a spreadsheet and figure out how much everything's going to cost you to go and do, and then you can arrive at your price. So you can back into that price as opposed to looking what other people are charging. But even if you looked at what other people are charging, I do this a lot with my clients, I figure out how much is it really costing them to be in the business. Because I had a client who was developing birthday hats and scarves for dogs. And so she does cleaning as her full-time occupation, and she makes $60 an hour for that. And we realized when we put in the $60 an hour that would cost to buy her own time, because she'd be taking away from the cleaning, that all of a sudden these dog hats were costing about $350 each to make, and they became prohibitively too expensive. But she said, you know what, I'm just going to buy my own time back. I just need to make $15 an hour, maybe $20. Now the cost of those hats dropped dramatically because now she's looking at it as a hobby. So there's a lot of different ways you can go and slice this. The next question is from Gabriella Brinkley. Gabriella writes, should I validate my service and business process before offering my service to the public? I'm a prospect finder. I help independent professionals build their success network by reaching out to their ideal prospects. I've been working with my first client. I'm enjoying learning the experience. She's also enjoying this opportunity to do something she's never done before in her business. This service contract covers a 3-month period. I would have preferred to teach her the prospect finding, contacting process. This would have enabled me to dedicate time to reach new prospects. I feel like this experience has given me a better way to market my service before sharing this with a large group of connections like my social media contacts. So, there's lots of people showing people how to prospect, tons of them. But I found that most businesses really want to go and hire somebody who will actually do the prospecting for them and work on a straight commission basis, or it's a combination of retainer and commission. But they typically don't just want to go and learn this, because there's so many people showing them how to use LinkedIn as a process, how to go and sell. I mean, these groups have been around, for 100 years. It's just that the technology has changed. But I think the vast majority of people, if they're thinking about selling, they're thinking about, how can I hire somebody to go and do this for me? Even if it's on a short-term basis, even if it's contracted out. So I think if you are deciding that you're going to be a sales coach and you're going to teach people how to prospect, then that's a different thing altogether. And you might put together videos and you might have sessions. I've done that with consultinguniversityusa.com, where I teach people how to be consultants. I have videos, but it really turns out to be a lot of one-on-one coaching, where I'm charging on a per hour or a per month basis to go and teach people how to go become consultants. So I think that you're going to need to do 2 things: set up those videos, develop the content, sell it to people, and then have them come meet with you on a weekly basis to work with them to develop their skill set. Or you're offering a service where you'll go and do it and you charge them X amount per hour, per week, per month, however you want to go and do it, with a minimum amount of time. And maybe it's a combination of cash, so they have skin in the game and you have skin in the game by getting commission or bonus based on performance. I would never do it for a straight commission. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because that means you have all the risk. They have none of the risk. It's different when people are in insurance and real estate, because they essentially have gone into business for themselves. But when you're working for somebody else and you're helping them become rich, they should have some skin in the game as well. Our next question is from Bob Guerre. Bob writes, is leading with price the best way to start a sales conversation with a prospect? No, definitely not. You don't go on a date and start by talking about what all your wants and needs are, or you don't start by telling them what kind of problems that you're having. You basically want to start off with a conversation with your potential client about what their needs are, what are they looking to accomplish, and then you'll back into the price by hearing everything, because maybe whatever price you're offering for something may be too low, too high, you don't know, but you need to listen. Maybe you need to change what you're offering to them. But again, you want to go and listen to folks first and then decide what you want to do. You definitely don't want to start off with price, because if you start off with price and say, in your particular business, you're promoting software and services in a package that's you say is less expensive than competitors, and at the top of the funnel you say you get prospects on demo calls, should you be messaging focused based on price because you think your price is so much less? If your price is really that much a competitive advantage, then you could put that out there. But I think in most cases, people are looking not first, and especially at software price, but what all that software can do. And at the end you go, and amazingly, here's our price. And again, I'm always concerned about trying to underprice the competition, because if you really have something of quality, and unless it is something that everybody else offers, like Dropbox, right? You know, you're hosting stuff in the cloud, so therefore everybody understands what hosting in the cloud is, and they're just looking for the best possible price. But if your software is unique and what you're offering is unique, then I wouldn't lead with price. I would lead with all the things that your software could do for the customer. Help them make more sales, make them more efficient, whatever that may be. We can lower your costs by 25%, and we give it as a guarantee. So if you can do all of those things, then you finally go into price, and make sure that you aren't pricing below where people think you're just a cheaper version. I mean, think about this, that people were paying for for Apple products, you know, the Apple iPods, and the people were willing to pay triple, quadruple what SanDisk was charging. Excuse me. What SanDisk was charging, and SanDisk was getting killed by Apple, even though Apple was triple. I mean, Apple had a core product, but SanDisk was thinking, hey, our product still looks good, and we're doing it for like 75% less. And they thought, oh my God, everybody will rush to that. But the fact is they didn't, and people are looking for quality products, and people are usually willing to pay a reasonable price for something. And if you're priced below your competition, they might think you're not as good as the competition. So, in fact, you might even charge above the competition just to differentiate yourself. Next question comes from Lysandra Wilson. Lysandra asked, what are sales strategies you would use to market your baker dessert services in a local area? I have a custom cake and dessert bakery, and I'm trying to do more weddings and events. I want to move into creating dessert bars and tables for events instead of the small cakes and dessert orders. Do you recommend cold calling, emailing as a way to connect with other businesses, vendors? If so, what tips do you have to be successful in doing so? If not, what other tips do you have for reaching out to businesses as a way to build your business and hopefully reach new clients? Okay, so you've had clients, word of mouth, that's great. But one of the things you have going for you that's fantastic is that people can taste your product. So I would go to wedding planners and party planners and send them your product and let them taste it. Because once they taste it, I'm sure that they're going to recommend you, because your product's going to be probably super amazing. So I would definitely go and bring it to people that are influencers, like the party planners, wedding planners, event planners, that could then say, oh my gosh, I got somebody who's got an amazing product. I would go to churches, and when they do some kind of celebration, offer to have your product for free with a display that your product is there and how to reach you with business cards. I would go to synagogues, because usually every Friday night after services, they have an event where you're eating coffee and cake and socializing. Churches on Sundays. So I would do any place where I could raise my visibility and go to places where the people have the income to pay for whatever you're charging. So if you go to those places and offer those things, and when chambers of commerce have events where you can go and get a booth at maybe a smaller event or a trade show or the business chamber trade show, those are great places. But again, what you have going for you is people can taste your product, and once they taste it, I'm sure they're going to want to come back. So that's the things I would do to raise your visibility, is leverage your current customer base and make sure that people who are influencers have a chance to taste your product and go and use it. and that way they can go and do it. You can also run contests and have people tell you, if you come up with the best marketing strategy for me, I will give you 24 free cupcakes. Well, now you have everybody thinking about you with this, or come up with the best logo, or come up with the best slogan. Different things will get people to think about you, and then they'll talk about you with friends to get ideas so they can win those free cupcakes or cakes or a night at a dessert bar, whatever that may be. Our next question is from Sherry Morris. Sherry asks, what do you need to detail and outline in an employee job description? I need to post a job listing to find 2 additional trainers for my aerial fitness studio so that I can get them certified, trained, and ready for a launch within 90 days. I know that I need a job description before doing this, but I don't even really know where to start or what details to be outlined. So what you need to go and do here is make a description that says exactly what your business does, what their expertise has to be, their experience. If they haven't done it before, what other things that they have had to have done that you know that would say that they're capable of performing this type of gymnastics with people. And put that in. You want to ask them the number of years of experience, and also when you're looking at injuries that they've had, to make sure that they're up for it, or that they can't get injured easily on the job. And in your job description, of course, you're going to have to talk about the insurance that you have for the business, the insurance they have to have for themselves, or what you're going to be providing, all of those things. But the most important thing is getting out what you're doing and what skill set that they need to do it, and that let everybody know what you're looking for and how many hours a week do you think you can keep them filled. Maybe somebody would do it on a part-time basis because they're a stay-at-home parent, but maybe others would want this to be full-time, so give a range of hours that you expect them to do. Are they going to be leading their own class? So you're going to expect them to go and build their own class, and that you're going to share in the revenue. So there's a lot of different things to think about there. But when you make these details, description of your business, bulleted expertise that they need, bulleted what you're going to provide them in terms of pay, benefits, and so forth. And then maybe they could even post for you, ask them to show you a video of them being able to actually do this, so you can watch them do it to know that you're not wasting your time. So I think a video would be great in this particular case, to watch them actually do it so you can make sure that they have the skill set. Our next question is from Perry Colgan. Perry asks, how do I evaluate new opportunities in side businesses? I have a stable core business with a great team. We sold 8 figures in Amazon last year through the FBA program, and have trained our operations and admin team so that we can step away from the business for a week or so at a time. We currently have several ideas for side businesses that complement our core business. Some of them are consulting with other Amazon sellers to help them be more efficient, including on-site workshops or on consulting, creating courses to help with process efficiency, brand management, and helping other people get up and running on Amazon, managing their presence on the platform for commission, doing private label on Amazon. To all of these cases, we could hire or build a new team to execute. So it sounds to me you want to leverage what you already know, and that makes a lot of sense to me that you would go and do that, and that's wonderful. But what I would definitely say here is that you should figure out how much time that you actually want to give to doing this, and figure out what your cost of time is going to be, and what you could offer that's not being offered either locally, regionally, nationally, and what your pricing structure would be, and your different services, and how you're going to get that marketed out. You know, are you going to use your current customer base to let them know you're now offering this? Are you going to buy email lists, which you can buy them, but sometimes it's very hard because people don't know you, they don't answer. It goes directly to the junk file. That makes it more difficult. Or maybe you're targeting colleges and universities to offer this as a educational, non-credit education program with their continuing education group. But figure out in a spreadsheet how much time it's going to take to go and do it, how much of your time you're going to invest, what the cost of your time is, what the cost of marketing, sales, operations, everything. And now you'll be able to figure out a pricing structure and now figure out how you're going to market to this and how many people would you have to get. So if you market to 10,000, how many of those people would have to convert for it to be worth your while to continue on this or spend more time building up your 8-figure current business? So that's what you have to go and think about. And I think that 8 figures is pretty damn successful, because that means you're over $1 million. In fact, I guess you're over $10 million if you're at 8 figures. So that's super impressive. And I'm sure there are people who contact you, but how much are you willing of your time and cash are you willing to invest to go and make this work? The next question comes from Yamisi Akanai, and I'm sure I just butchered that name and I apologize for that. How do you know if you've done all you can to improve your business? We are a math tutoring business of about 80 to 100 students, and we have remained flat. Things are just stagnant, and we think we can have looked at every aspect of our business, from pricing to memberships to marketing to staff. We don't want to sell our business because of something we totally overlooked, and then things just take off for another owner. What are things we can do to help us get our growth back on? I would bring in outside marketing consultant. When I've done this kind of work for people in the past, having a third party kind of look at what you're doing and then interviewing your customers and finding out, why aren't your customers becoming bigger advocates for you, and why aren't they out there selling you to other people? Because that's really important. Referral, word of mouth is really important in your type of business. I would look at what your competition is doing in terms of marketing themselves. Find out if there are places that they are that you are missing, that you haven't been marketing to. Maybe, for instance, like churches and synagogues and mosque and different types of groups where math is really important to increasing your college board score. Asian schools, people are really focused on improving their college boards. Who are those folks, and what are they offering, and how could you get in front of those groups? Again, I think it'd be worth the investment to bring a third party in who has no agenda, clear mind. You're on a clear slate with them, and they're thinking totally out of the box on seeing how they can help you build your business, and how do you go and get people beyond your region or the markets you've already been targeting. So again, I think it'd be worthwhile for you to bring in a third party to go and do it, and look at what your competitors are doing, both locally, regionally, nationally, even internationally. Go and do market research and type in what you do and find out, what do the best math tutors do to drive new business. That will open some ideas for you and should get you on the right road. The next question is from Brad Latchworth. Brad writes, what is an acceptable time frame for royalty payments paid to someone when acquiring a business? My wife and I are looking to start a concession business. We have talked with someone that has been in the business for a while with an established name and a following, and they are looking to exit the business. They're offering us their name and associated like logos, graphics, etc. They're willing to turn over our any current contracts they have and contracts for potential contracts and are asking for a small percentage in return. There have been no discussions of length of time for paying this fee, but I do feel like it needs to have a limit. What is an acceptable offer to what kind of time limit, years, should we look at for entering such an agreement? If the contracts prove to be fruitful, I don't mind paying the fee, but I feel it shouldn't be paid indefinitely. We're not trying to buy any equipment or any physical location, basically just purchasing the name, logos, graphics, and contracts. So I think there's two things. One, you can set a price for the business. Let's say you bought the business for $100,000 and you put $50,000 up, and they're going to get the other $50,000 through a revenue stream, and maybe instead of just getting $50,000, they're really going to get $70,000 because you don't have to pay the entire sum up front, and maybe it's on a 5-year basis. I would look at a 5-year contract with them that they're getting this residual, and only if you make it, and it's got to be based on net profit, not gross sales, and a number that's agreeable to both of you. So you would outline for them, here's what the expenses are, here's what the net profit will be. Because if I was selling the business, I would say, hey, I want a percentage of the gross. But what if you lost money on everything based on the gross profit? So you have to look at what those costs are going to go and be. And I would make it no more than 5 years. And I would also say, as part of it, that they have to be there to consult with you, for you to bounce things off of, for you to learn from them, for them to give you advice on things. There are going to be things they know. You don't just want them to walk away. You want them to be able to talk to vendors who they've had long-standing relationships with. Now that there's somebody new in, maybe the new vendor wants to charge you more money because they don't know you, they don't trust you. So there's a lot of good things to having that person stay in the business for a period of time, and also making it worthwhile for them by putting it. It could be as low as 3 years. You could do 3 years with an option for 2 more years if in fact you feel that they're adding additional value than just the name recognition and what you've gotten from them. Good luck with that. Sounds very interesting. Another question from Ricardo Delgado. Ricardo asked, how do you hire a manager for your company or hire a lead? I have a barber shop and currently start to work outside the business, although eventually I want to step outside the business, and that would mean I need to hire a manager or a lead. What do I look for in doing this, or where should I start? Look for somebody who's managed before. Look for somebody who has good people skills, who's calm, somebody who understands your business. You know, you wouldn't want Marc Kramer managing a barber shop because I know nothing about that business. So you got to hire somebody who understands the business. And there may be barbers who work for other barbers who aspire to be managers and even part owners. So you could offer them to be a manager with the idea that if it goes really well, they will offer them a chance to buy into the business or earn into the business to be a partner. And I would go and meet with these people and ask them about different scenarios and find out from people, are they good at handling pressure? Are they good at solving problems? Are they good at raising people up? Maybe they're coaches on their off time, and that would be good to observe them as coaches. You might have them coach one person and see what they're like. You might have them come in and say, hey, I'd like to have you on an interim basis manage the business while I'm there so I can watch and listen to how you handle people and make decisions. So I would look for somebody who understood the business, a lot of personality, easy to get along with, is relaxed in tense situations, and is highly supportive of other people, and then see what happens. Again, Fortune 500s have hired CEOs that they've vetted for months and then end up firing 30 days into the job. One CEO I saw of a major Fortune 500 fired 1 week after the job. So no matter how many brilliant, experienced people you get, you're going to make mistakes. You might have to go through a few managers before you find one, but also look at yourself and say, what can I do better as an owner when I'm working with these managers. What kind of support do I need to give them to ensure their success so I can get some of my time back to do what I want to go and do? Our next question is from Melinda Clark. Melinda asks, should I rent a brick and mortar office space? I'm a nurse practitioner with a health and wellness practice, small startup side gigs, still not established. I'm primarily offering concierge home services right now. I keep tossing around the idea of a brick and mortar location, thinking it might be somewhat easier to market. Of course, that comes with more overhead expenses. I definitely have some fear around this and biting off more than I can chew. To mitigate some of this, I'm also considering if I'm allowed to sublease part of the space to other professionals. We offer the services that complement but don't compete with mine. I plan to reach out to the landlord of the space I'm interested in on Friday to get more information. I'm probably sure by now you've actually made that decision, but for people who are thinking about this, if you're a nurse practitioner and you are providing a concierge service, which means they're not coming to you, you're going to them. I have a marketing consultancy. I don't have space. I work out of my home or I work out of different places. I meet people at their offices or on Zoom. If you don't have people coming to you like a doctor's office, then I don't see the point of spending that money on space. If you're thinking about, hey, I'm going to have people come in, I'm going to probably see 10 patients a day, 5 patients a day, it makes some sense. But if not, you don't want to get into the subleasing business unless you're deciding, hey, I'm going to buy a building, have it partly for me, but mostly I'm renting it out. But in your particular case, you're not a lawyer where people are coming in to see you. You're not a doctor's office. You said you're a concierge service where you're actually physically going to people or answering their calls by Zoom or on the phone. I wouldn't waste the money to go and do that. Well, folks, that was our last question today. It was great seeing all of you. I hope everyone has a great, safe Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the end of summer, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.